Hello guys, this is your Uncle Big Fish, and this is actually one of the few times that I held my Primrose again. It has been a very long while since I last opened this class. I think for a long time this class was my channel's mascot, but then PA fucked her up, and she's not even close to the class that I once knew. And let's just say things didn't go well after all that, for me at least. And that's actually one of the reasons to why I'm playing her today for this video. Now, let's just look at what the kits are first, and we can look into everything else after, alright? Let's look at the skill first. Now, if you see here, this is going to be your main stab or your highest damage skill. This is the skill Absolute Zero. Now, this thing is pretty much your only viable option for damage. This thing has roughly, if I recall correctly, about 900 per hit. So it total has roughly around 2800% damage at level 10. It has a very high damage, but it's channeling, if you see there, yeah? It takes a while to charge up the spear before she hits. This is also your healing skill. The heal on this skill is actually quite interesting. It heals I think it's 3 times, or I think it's 3 times, yeah. 3 times, I think this is gonna be around 300, yeah? 300 times 3, so about 900 heal, roughly around that area. It has a little breathe and all imbue while on the branches. This skill hurts a lot, but you need to get a crit. If it doesn't, it's kind of sad. Plus, people really resist it a lot because the skill doesn't have a lot of CC frames, so it's quite sad, yeah? Next will be the skill Frost Hallow. This is your second stab. This thing doesn't really deal that much damage. I think it deals like 700 times 3, so about 2100% damage at max levels. This skill doesn't really do anything. It's just a simple knockdown skill. It doesn't really deal that much damage, and but it's pretty fast, and it deals a bleed and a DP drop. Also, it hits. It has a pretty low cooldown at 6 seconds. Yeah. Next will be the skill Moonrise. Now, this is pretty much a farming skill. You don't really use this for PvP. I don't know why it says like PvE, PvP skill. It doesn't have any super armor in the arenas nor in field. The skills are absolutely garbage. I think they should give the skill at least like super armor in the arenas. Probably they'll make the skill a lot better. But aside from that, that's about what the skill is about. It doesn't really hurt that much either. It's 2800. It's 280 times 4. So that's a little bit of above 1000. Maybe a lot closer to maybe 350 or 400 times 4, so 1600 at like max level. It doesn't really do any damage, and the Serret is kind of waste because this thing has no super armor in field either. Next will be a skill Infinite Stab. This thing is quite funny. So this is pretty much your skill. Yeah, it's like her cool multi-stabbing skill. It hits 8 times, so it's pretty nice. But since it's slow and it takes a long time to actually like cast the whole thing, it doesn't actually do that much if you think about it, because it takes time for the skill to go into effect. So during the same period, people can probably cast like 2 skills or so. It does have a decent base power at around maybe 320 times 8, maybe around that area. Probably a little bit over 3k damage, I would say, around that area, yeah. However, it doesn't really go out fast. It's pretty slow, yeah. It stabs so many times, so during the same time frame, other classes can cast 2 or 3 skills, and because of that, it's not that great. Believe me, it's not that great. Next will be the skill Frigid Burst. Now, this is pretty much your opening skill and your first skill for the arenas. It does have super armor. It hits twice. So this is actually one of the skills that got fucked by PA. So I'll just explain a little bit later on what all the changes are. So if you see here, the skill Frigid Burst used to be able to be stalled. You used to be able to stall her second hit a little bit after the first one. So kind of like this. And then you can press it again, but now you can't. You just see skill on cooldown. Now the skill is pretty much cracked, like you can't stall the second hit anymore, which is kind of sad because my playstyle revolves around it. And that's actually the reason why I left this class in the first place. I don't see how I'm gonna play this class without it, and that really makes it difficult to outplay people anymore. So nowadays this class is kind of sad to use, pretty hard to use. Next will be the skill Glacier Wall. This is your freeze. Freeze and daze is essentially the same thing. 3 second full CC is pretty much the same thing. It follows up after a stun. This skill, Glacier Wall, can be half casted, or if you want to, you can cast cancel. You can half cast it with your evasion, and it will look kind of funny. So if you do it correctly, it will look kind of like this. If you see that the ice is kind of short, yeah. Here's what a full glacier wall looks like. You see that the ice is pretty long, right? But if you half cast it right, like if the timing is right, it will look like it's pretty short. You can also half cast it or cast cancel that with your evasion or with your analog. It will look kind of like this. Yeah, you can cast it twice, like so. So it's kind of nice. Like you can actually like cast cancel it. It allows it to act like a damage filler. I don't know what this guy's doing. He's following me around. And then let's look at the other skills now. Pedal Ward. This is pretty much your second immunity skill. In hindsight, it doesn't look like it's dealing a lot. It's like 600 times 2, so like, I don't know, like maybe 1200, probably a lot more. But what makes it great is it applies 200% of Pedal Ward damage. So pretty much this is gonna turn more into something a lot more interesting. Applies 200% of Pedal Ward damage, so you get 3 times the base power of the skill itself. So roughly around 2000 something, yeah? Almost 3000, I think. I think it's 3000. I think at max base power, it gets like 22% per hit. So maybe at level 10, you get like another 200. So maybe around 800 something base power times 2. So yeah, give or take, maybe around 1600. And then you get 200%, so that will be multiplied by 2, so like 3.2k% damage. However, it does not have branches, and that is the problem. It doesn't have branches. The first initial hit will always be a forward guard. You cannot change this part. However, the next few hits, you can change it to a forward guard, so it's quite nice, yeah? Here is a super armor. If you turn it off, it'll be a pure forward guard skill, yeah? However, if you turn it on, it's gonna be super armor. So essentially speaking, this skill is pretty interesting. It allows you to change some of her initial hits into forward guard, but if you don't use it, it's gonna turn into a purely super armor skill. However, you can't change the first initial hit. This guard stance will always be forward guard. You can't change that. It does get a cooldown reduction, so it's like an 8-second cooldown skill, which is nice, but this class still does have a lot of problems, but we'll talk about the problems later on. But for now, we'll just look into the skills first. It deals a daze on hit, so this skill can be used for an opening. It's pretty nice. Next will be the skill Cold Snap. This thing is your pseudo iframe / super armor skill. It's very fast. The cooldown is pretty short though. It's around 7 seconds. However, it's pretty fast, so it does not have any duration whatsoever. It's pretty fast, and the way it works is if you use it, if the enemy gets hit from close range, it will be a stun. But if the enemy gets hit by the edge of this skill, it's gonna be a knockback. So you can actually use this depending on what you want it to look like. You can actually go into daze, and then you can use like a daze damage filler, and you use this for knockback. That works as well. Actually, her max combo uses this for the combo itself, but it's not that useful though. It's not. I'm probably gonna use this skill a lot more for escape or for more of an engage rather than for a combo, because the cooldown can't coincide with the combo itself. The cooldown is not that good. Next will be the skill Midnight Requiem. Like a lot of people have been asking me that this skill is it her ultimate skill or something, because it looks like it's the coolest skill that she's got. which I completely understand. However, that is not the case. The skill's damage is very high. However, they fucked it up. So, yeah, the skill has no immunities in field or in arenas, so it's kind of sad. It's kind of a waste, actually. More like a farming skill, probably. Next will be the skill Relentless Strike. Now, this is also another farming skill. It doesn't do anything. It does have this... you see that? It does have a flow, and it does a knock up on the last hit. So, at least... well, it doesn't really... To be honest, we've tried making different sets, like funny sets with this, but it's just absolutely horrible. It's just really, really shit. I don't recommend you using the skill for PvP. The skill sucks bad. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Sucks. Alright, last one will be the buff skill. This one gives AP 35, crit chance plus 10%, so it's great. It coincides with Le Brief, and there's a reason why this class is really good with a Le Brief set. Because the way this works is, this class gets an additional 10% crit chance, and also it has Le Brief, which also increases crit chance. So you can actually get a really, really high crit chance with this class. But, well, it's still a chance, so probably all is kind of better in like one way. But yeah, I'll probably try to use like the Le Brief set a lot more. And this class is the buff is quite nice. It does trigger her passive, the Frost Flower. Yeah. All right, next let's talk about the most important thing, which is her passive, and it looks like it's super long here. If you see, this class has immunity to slows, attack speed slows, movement speed slows, so speed losses. This class cannot be slowed. This class cannot be bled, and also, yeah, that's kind of broken. So you can't really slow this class. You can't bleed this class. So it's really, really strong. Enhance, decrease attack speed and decrease movement speed skill enhancement. This passive enhances all types of slows, attack speed and decrease movement speed by an effective 25% base of what it does. So if you have, like, say 50 slow, it's gonna add another 12.5%, making that a 62.5% slow. And this stacks additively to imprints as well, which is why this class probably does not need any attack speed loss imprints, because it'll be way too much if you get it. Like, she's already holding on to about 37.5% slow, attack speed slow from absolute zero due to this passive, so she doesn't really need any more slow imprints. It doesn't really do anything, because slows degrade in value if you go over 35. This class does have 10% damage reduction for 15 seconds, and that's about it. Now, let's talk about the most important thing of her passive, which is the Frost Flower Ephemeral Shard. Creates 1 shard upon using skill. It can be any skill, it doesn't matter. And what it does is, you can stack it up to 3 shards, and when that happens, it will empower the next absolute zero, which is this skill, by 30% at max. So it will actually be able to increase the damage of this skill by 30% once you use 3 skills before the absolute zero. And it does consume all the shards, so make sure that you get the right skill sequence so you can get the most damage out of it. Alright, so that's actually about it. What else is this? What's your opinion to all rush opening on Arena Day, Charizard? Yeah, we don't need that, because we ain't trash. Alright, so I think that's gonna be about it for Primrose. There's not really a lot that we wanted to talk about. This class is pretty straightforward. It's one of the most straightforward classes. Just go like that. Yeah, it's a very, very straightforward class. It doesn't really do a lot of things. However, what you can try to learn with this class is knowing how long you can stall this skill Pedal Ward. It's a very good skill if you know when to actually linger each of the hits. You can linger each of the hits. I'll just show you what I mean. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. You can actually linger the last hit by quite long. I'll show you here, okay? Go like that. You can wait a bit, and you can finally do the third hit. So you can actually, it has a pretty good linger, yeah, and you can stall the last hit for quite long. You can go like that, like so, and that's too long, yeah. So probably you can stall it for about 2 seconds, which is quite respectable. It's not amazing, but it's definitely somewhere out there, yeah. You can actually do that and still hit the third hit. The third hit does have some linger at the very end, so if you pay attention to the lingers on the last hit, you see that it's got some decent linger like right after. So make sure not to stop the skill too quickly, yeah. So that's actually quite useful to for you guys to learn. Next, you can also maneuver the frigid burst. You can actually do this, and then you can go like sideways, and you can actually go front and then back, like so. You can also do, say, like front and then left, like so. This class is really good, and you need to learn how to do this. A long time ago, you can actually stab once, you wait a bit, and then you can move. And that was great. That was the best moments of Primrose. But now she can't do that anymore. You kind of pretty much only have like 1 second stall, maybe like half a second of like stall. But yeah, it's kind of bad if you think about it. Now, how do you maneuver this? So what you do is you're gonna press the skill, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna press it really quickly again, and you have like 0.2 seconds to decide where to direct your analog. And so that's pretty much how you maneuver this, all right? Like so. All right, that's very useful to learn. You need to get the timing right. It's not easy, but you can, if you once you get the timing right, you can do that like 24/7 without fail. It's gonna be very easy for everyone. By the way, I have an arena clip that I just clipped out, like I think before I made this video. Yeah, the FPS drops a lot. I think the things are not really great these couple days. The internet is also not really good. If you see my internet on the very bottom there, my signal for my internet is only 1, which is really bad, and that's probably the reason why my FPS drops a lot, and then like I start lagging and desynced and all that. I think you'll see it around 7 minutes into the arena clips. I think I fought Vladimir or something. It was the ping and basically the lag was so bad. Like I was like, my pedal board got canceled. Like yeah, that one sucks. But it is how it is. Vladimir is a very good player, and very happy to get to fight him. Long story short, Primrose is a very good class, a support class for wars. It's created for 2 purposes, and that's to be a support. It's an aggressive support. You want to play this class as a support. This class doesn't really need a lot of CP. However, with CP, this class is a lot stronger, because then it kind of pumps up more of her damage. Like, this class is really good at slowing people down, which means that she decreases people's damage output. However, this class doesn't hit very hard, and because of that, the damage is kind of lacking even with CP. So unless you're like really high CP, yeah, just don't worry about it. If you're like Duke or General, it's gonna be a waste to use this class. To be honest, it's not very good for that matter. Now let's talk about the last thing before we go on. It's gonna be this skill, Ice Illusion. Now this skill, if you can see there, allows some kind of movement during the skill. But that skill doesn't do damage when it travels, and it doesn't give debuffs, and it consumes a fuck ton of mana. So here's what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm just gonna use my auto attack here, just a little bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how much mana it takes from full bar. All right, look at that shit, man. That is a fuck ton of mana loss. Like, you can't do this thing twice and get the whole thing. And the second one's gonna be very short, because this class doesn't need a lot of mana to use the skill. You need 20% to 30% mana regen on your imprints to actually use this effectively in combat. If you don't have at least 30% or 20%, probably you can't use this skill, because this might kill you, because sometimes you don't know when your mana's gonna finish and all that, and that's gonna be a problem. Alright, I think that's gonna be about it for today's video for the Primrose. There's not really any more I wanna say. She is quite bad in arenas, not really for the purpose that she's bad or something, but it's because she's really weak to three things. One is forward guard break, because that ruins her. It ruins her rotation. Two, she's very, very weak to trading. This class have no trading power whatsoever in arenas. Her only trading is on Pillow Ward, and this thing doesn't really move, as you can see. It does have a bit of movement, but it doesn't really do that much damage because it doesn't have branches. And this skill deals no damage. This skill doesn't have damage either, so it's quite sad. This class is very bad at trading, so you don't really want to trade into like a Zerk or something. I think this class used to counter Zerk some time ago, but then now she gets fucked by Zerk because she can't actually continue the rotation versus a Zerk. It's gonna be pretty hard. I think it's 50-50, maybe 60-40 in favor of Zerk so now, which is kind of sad. Because I think while Zerk gets buffed, she gets fucked. Plus, she cannot get grabbed. This class is very easy to grab. This skill is pretty much a sign that says, please grab me and all that. I mean, when you're using this guard stance, people pretty much just grab you. Like, it's very easy to grab. So it's pretty sad, yeah. However, that is what the Primrose is. She's very, very weak to grabs. And currently, grab classes are the meta. It's like GMs, Yachas, all these shits. Yeah, like she'll get fucked by grabs. Very easy to grab. So yeah, I don't recommend you guys using this class to climb in like Karkia or something. It's not gonna end well for you. I mean, during Riptide, the winner of Riptide is a Primrose player, and he does use Primrose from the very beginning until the very end. However, that is different because Riptide, we ban all the broken ones, so Primrose can compete. But if we don't ban the broken ones, this class will suffer, and I'm not talking about that in a light manner. This class will absolutely get fucked, like by many classes like GMs, Gladies. A lot of these classes will really destroy her. So yeah, chain grab opening will fuck her up. This class have no sustain. That's about it from me, and there will be some arena clips after this for you guys to watch. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I think the next video would be a Phantasma. How good is Phantasma actually? Without further ado, enjoy the Primrose clips, and it's my first time playing Primrose in months, so please bear with me on that one. Enjoy.
The sky beneath to see, hiding in the space or lost in our destiny, believing